Hi, everybody. I hope you're all doing well and find yourself in great spirits. I haven't posted yesterday, I think, and I don't know about the day before because I think I got the flu and I don't feel too well. But I wanted to share a story of my favorite haircut and why it was my favorite haircut. But first, I need to make something clear. I'm not looking to collab with other YouTube channels. I'm not looking to network with them. I have a wide network of supporters outside of YouTube, and that's where my life really is. I once did an interview with Javier and an advocate I highly respect, John. And Javier asked John, if somebody wanted to be an advocate, what's something they should do? And John said, the one thing you should do is never ever ask for money, because then it's hard to trust you. And so I'm not looking to build my channel so that I can run a Venmo account along the bottom. I'm not looking to grow my channel so I can get, donations. If anything, I would ask people to donate that to a charity and get credit for it on their taxes. I do this channel because I think I have stories that are worth sharing and I want to share them. And also to leave a legacy for people that liked and loved me when I'm gone. They can look at this and see what my thoughts were. It's almost like a diary of sorts. And that's it, And I've never once asked anyone to hit the like. I've never asked anyone to hit the subscribe. I don't want to put anyone out. I'm just grateful that you watch and hopefully you like the videos. That said, here's my favorite haircut. So, and I'm actually going to tell you a crazy story before I get to the haircut. So I was in a meeting in Lost Hills and we were driving, I think, to Bakersfield. And it was nighttime. And as we were driving, this car comes up and almost cuts off the car in front of me, who were my friends and colleagues, right? And it didn't have any lights on. And it was doing like 100 miles per hour. And like it barely missed him by inches. And if it would have hit him, it actually would have created a pit maneuver against him where he would have spun out and been the one that ended up hurt. And then he just disappeared because he didn't have his lights on at night. And so all of a sudden you see like a whole bunch of police pass us up. Woo, like 10 of them. And then, we're still driving, and then you see him come back the opposite way. And there's a bunch of cops coming that way, like long after he already came the opposite way. So we're still driving, and he does it again. So he's doing a loop because there's a big dirt island in the middle. So you can go through through just the dirt patch, and then jump over to the other side. And this is from, I think, Lost Hills to Bakersfield. I know we were going south. Or maybe the first meeting was in Coalinga, and then we were going to Bakersfield for a meeting in Lost Hills. And so he comes by a second time, like at 100 miles per hour, and just like weaves through us. We're like afraid because we can't see him coming up, and he's driving so recklessly. And this time we see him go into the dirt, kick up hella rocks, bust a U-turn and go the other way up the highway. And then we see all these cops come again, like chasing him, but he's already going the other way. And so like 10 minutes pass, and then they flip a U-turn and they're going the other way. And when they're going that way, he comes up past us again, like just driving hella crazy. And so we keep driving, and pretty soon we see all these cops around a car in the middle of the dirt, but it wasn't the car. I think this was like an older Camaro. And then when all the cops are on him, this fool passes us up again. Like, surprised no one got killed. And as we kept driving, we seen him like at a little truck stop with like the helicopter and a whole bunch of cars around him. So they did catch him. And that was a lot of excitement right there. So the next day we go to, I think, Oxnard. And the drive there was incredibly beautiful. It was like, I felt like I was driving through Hawaii, through, going from Waikiki to the North Shore where it's just lush. And I think it's the Poly Highway, and so the Poly Highway. And so that's what it looked like, and I was like, "Ooh, Oxnard is going to be nice." And we had a meeting, went to a restaurant on the beach, an Italian restaurant, then went to the beach, get our feet wet, and then called it a night. Next day, we shot to I don't know if I think we stayed in San Pedro, because we had a meeting in Wilmington, which I think is close by. And so the people I'm with, they get up early in the morning to plan for the meeting, to go over what they're going to say, to work on their presentations. My role is just to, serve the community and kind of serve as a translator of sorts, breaking down technical speak to layperson's understanding, and just making sure they feel welcome. And so I don't have as much responsibility as them, arguably, but so when they're doing that, I would go for walks. And I go for a walk through San Pedro, checking out all the little stores, the little segundas, and you could tell that it's a Mexican community, and there's a lot of humble people there. And I know because I kept walking to the top of this hill where there was this, like, I think there was a public aquarium there, and I meant to go back to it, but I ran out of time. And so I was like in this nice neighborhood at the top, and then I come back down through downtown. I must walk like 5 miles. And when I'm walking back through downtown, I see a barber shop, and I'm like, oh, I can always get a haircut and then just get a pulse on the community from this barber, in relation to oil and gas operations. And so I go in there and I'm like, hey, can I get a haircut? And he's like, sure. And then and it was cool because I saw he had a set of straight razors there, and he had like the hot towel thing. So he's old school. I haven't had a haircut like that in a long time. So I was already looking forward to it on the simple fact he was going to finish me off with a straight razor, then rub it on that leather thing. And I think I even had him shave me because, I don't often get to shave by a straight razor in a barber shop. And when I would go to Mexico, I'd see my uncle get, a haircut and done with the straight razor. So it just reminded me of being really old school. And then the barber said he was from Michoacan, but he'd been in Rancho San Pedro for like over 50 years. And his shop had been there for, I think, about 40, he said. And his son was also a barber there. And then he had another guy. There was like 5 seats, but only 3 of them were being used. And then there was 2 ovatos in there just like to shoot the breeze, to platicar. They weren't there for haircuts. That's just where they would go hang out during the day, right? And so he's cutting my hair, and then when he's done, he vacuums me off, which is another thing I hadn't seen in a long time. Usually you just get blow dried off, but he vacuumed my head, right? And then he pulls out because I told him I wanted to shave. He pulls out the big towel and he puts it on me to soften up my skin. Then he starts spinning the lather for the cream. He's got the little brush and he's like brushing it on me. And, I like that old school vibe. And you could get that here now, but it's like $90 and only hipsters do it. Like it's a hipster thing to get an old school haircut. And I don't go to those. I'm not paying $90 for a haircut. In fact, now I just got clippers and I shave my head and my beard with clippers. So I haven't had a haircut for a long time. And I should, because I really like the person who cuts my hair. But I haven't gone for like a long time. And I kind of owe it to her to go. She was teaching me Chinese too. Which is, hey, my friend, can I get a haircut? Thank you. Ah, you're a pretty lady. And so it was cool. And I should go back because they're probably struggling with COVID and all that. But anyways, they blowed your hair and they hit you with the clippers. They don't put the towel on you and whip up the foam to lather you up. But this guy did. And so while I got the towel on me, you hear the little bell ring because some people came in, and it was these two Mexican ladies who, um, they were, they were humble people, and they were pushing a baby stroller. And I could kind of see like in the mirror because there's a big giant mirror in front of me, and the barber says, "Hold on, excuse me a moment." He says "con permiso" because we're talking in Spanish, and I say "es propio," like it's proper. That's how you would say it in the old days, right? And so he goes over there to talk to him, and while he's talking to him, I see him pull out some money, and then he asked the other barbers and his son, "Hey, do you guys want any tamales?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'll take 2. I'll take 1." And then the 2 old guys that were hanging out said they would take some too. So I'm like, "Hey, how much are the tamales?" And I think they were $1.50, which was like cheap to me. Like it's cheap. Tamales are like $25 a dozen if you buy a dozen. And if you just buy one, it's like $3. If you get it at a restaurant, it's probably $10, right? So I was like, "Oh, hell yeah, I'll get them." And then the lady says, "Ask him if he wants some champurrado," to ask me. And so the barber says, "Hey, ¿quieres champurrado?" And one of the people that was on this work trip with me, she's a really good friend, and I know she likes champurrado. So I was like, "Yeah, I'll take 3 of them." And so the lady leaves them there. And when I go, "How much?" It was like $7. And I got several tamales too. And I was like, "Man, I can't believe how cheap this is." So I gave her 10, told her to keep the change, and felt like I had come up immensely. So the guy leaves him there on the counter. He finishes shaving me, and we shake hands, say goodbye. He told me a little bit about like oil wells in the area, and what the community thinks about them, which I was able to share with the team. And so I go back to the hotel, and I'm at a nice hotel. Everything is paid for, and I give her one of the champurrados, and she tries it, and she's like, "Oh my God, this might be the best champurrado I've ever had." So I tried mine, and it was so fluffy and foamy. Unlike any champurrado I'd had either. Most of the champurrados I've had are kind of grainy. They're more like atole. And this one wasn't. It was like, "Damn, did you make this shit in a cappuccino machine?" That's what I thought, because it was like phenomenally good. And the tamales were banging too, and it came with little salsas. And so that was my favorite haircut, and it was because of the camaraderie I had with the barber. We just connected on a very old school Mexican level. The ladies came in selling food. I've never been at a barber shop where people come in selling food. Although the one I go to, they did put me up on the banh mi's when the hood first started getting exposed to them. They didn't even call them banh mi's. They just called them the Vietnamese sandwiches, and they were $2 a pop. They're $8 a pop now because they've gentrified. Everyone knows about them. No one calls them the Vietnamese sandwiches no more. Everybody calls them by their proper name, banh mi's. And if I go to the banh mi place that I like, Duck Huang in Little Saigon, you'll see long lines of people in suits, white folks, black folks, Mexicans. That's how you know a place made it, when all ethnicities are up in there enjoying that good food. But I only heard about them at my barbershop. People weren't coming in slanging them. And at this one, they came in slanging tamales. It was part of their regular route, and champurrado. And, I wish the ladies had a more opportunities, but, I support them when I can. And it felt like a win-win. I got some of the best champurrado I'd ever had, if not the best. It's the best. It was the best one I ever had. And the tamales, my mom's were the best, hands down, so I won't say they're the best tamales I ever had. But they were really good, and at the price, they were excellent. And so the camaraderie there, the feeling welcomed by just the community, and getting that good food on top of everything, made that my best haircut ever. And when I left, there was a like a thrift store 2 doors down. I bought a really nice shirt for the meeting that night, and so all around it was a win. I really liked walking through there. It was it was, to me, it was a beautiful place. Although I do recognize that, port communities do suffer a lot of pollution from the trucks and all the commerce. And so, I do keep that in the back of my mind. But it was a neat community, and I enjoyed it. And that was just a lifelong memory from a haircut.